Welcome to Dear Diary, the self love podcast. This is your place to dive deep into personal development and self love inspiration, connecting you to your intuition, your body, and your higher self while unlocking and activating your confidence and inner power, inspiring you to show up and choose you over everything that gets thrown in your way instead of listening to the limiting beliefs running around inside of your head. We will explore a variety of topics from conquering fear, letting go of doubt, self awareness, mom guilt, trusting your intuition, along with a ton of self care tools that I'll be sharing along the way. With solo sessions and a magnetic guest list of remarkable souls, this is my platform to empower others while using my voice to share my self love, growth, and healing journey. I hope that this podcast serves you well and you get as much value from it as I do sharing it. So here we go. Welcome back to a 2023 brand new podcast episode. I took the last couple of weeks off because your girl got COVID. Dun dun dun. I escaped that fucking thing for 2.5 years and then it hit me like a ton of bricks. So if I sound wonky, it's because I'm still recovering. And that's kind of what today's episode is going to be about. Um, a forced slowdown from the universe while getting sick really allowed me to learn how to intentionally rest, how to really, really check in with my body, how to honor and nurture myself in ways that I thought I was doing before, but I could have done a better job. No, I was doing a fine job. Now I've learned that I can do it a little bit more intentionally. Getting quiet, getting still, all of these things that I experienced in the last couple of weeks because towards the end of the year, going into the holidays, I was on a high. I was feeling really good. I just finished my time with the Embodied Women program and working one-on-one with Stevie Wright, and it was so amazing, such an incredible experience, and I took so much away from it, and I shed so many layers, and I rewrote so many old stories, and I really stepped into a more powerful, embodied version of me, and I was feeling really, really good. I was feeling good about ending the year on a high note and, stepping into this year with just, feeling like, "I got this," "Yeah." And then I got sick and I got knocked on my ass, and it was really, really hard and it was really scary. And some of the symptoms that you hear a lot of people talk about like brain fog and not feeling yourself and just like these debilitating headaches and no energy and just you know, the symptoms you hear everybody talk about. Well, I didn't really hear a lot of people talk about that as much as I do the taste buds and the hard labored breathing and all of that, but basically, um now that I've experienced it and I've done some research, there's a lot of people out there that have experienced this really foggy, hard to find words, um just cloudiness after experiencing COVID. And you may even notice it in this episode as I speak. I do have notes, but typically when I do these episodes, I just kind of riff. I channel whatever's coming to me. It's not edited in any way, and I just go off on my little riff, my little tangent. And there's gonna have to be pauses here with this episode. Like that one just there where I had to pause and cough for 5 minutes, and now I have a splitting headache. The struggle is real, and I was on the struggle bus the last couple of weeks, and if you have experienced COVID and you've experienced this brain fog, you can relate. I basically dropped off the face of the earth. I was not on social media. I was not doing my self-care routines. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't doing yoga. I wasn't even getting off the couch or out of bed some days. The whole house had it. So we were all just on this lull of feeling like we were dying. It was really hard to be a partner and a mother. And, a lot oftentimes when us women get sick, the world still is spinning and there's still things that we need to do, and we still need to feed our children, and we still need to take care of our children and our husbands and spouses and all the things. And it's like the world doesn't just stop when you don't feel good. And so I really, in the beginning, I was really upset that it happened. Not only that it happened, but that it happened around the holidays. And then there was like this aha moment after getting quiet and getting still and not beating myself up for, how did I get it, and who gave it to me, and how long am I gonna have it, and oh, this sucks, and oh, it's the holidays, and oh, we had to cancel all our plans, and ah, da 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 da. Like, I really got quiet and I really got still, and it was like, oh, wait a minute. What is here for me? Right? I'm sick for a reason. I always believe, you hear me talk about this on a lot of the episodes. I always believe that there's a reason or a lesson or a teacher in these unfortunate moments in our lives, in these situations that we are faced with. And I was like, oh, well, thank God it happened right around now. you know, my son had off from school. We didn't have any grand holiday plans anyway. I had already finished my shopping. If anything, the week between Christmas and New Year's is like the week that the entire world stays in their pajamas, right? If they don't have to go to work. So it's like this actually happened at such a great time, right? So whatever it is that my body needed to purge at the end of this year, it's doing so now. It's allowing me to just fully shed layers of things that I actually was holding on to, thinking that they were things that were good for me. For example, go, 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 right? My calendar is booked by the hour. I have time slots in my calendar where if you ask if we can hang, I'm like, hold on, I got to check my calendar, right? Like, always busy, always doing the things, always just being a Manny Gen. If you follow human design, I'm a Manny Gen. We're meant to do a lot of things. We're busy people. And so it gave me an opportunity to really like, wait a minute, that's good. And do I really have to continue to operate like that? Is that really a sustainable way to enter into the new year? Can I slow down just a little bit? Perhaps maybe I can start taking baby steps, right? Instead of just being like, okay, well, I feel better now. So I'm just going to, life's just going to go back to normal. And I tried that for a day and I was like, whoa, there is no normal anymore. There, I truly and genuinely feel like the person that I am coming out of having COVID is a completely different version of me than I was going in. And some people may be like, "Oh, that's a bit dramatic," but I'm serious. I feel completely different. I feel like it's okay. I give myself permission to move slower, to not only check in, right? I have a lot of episodes and I talk a lot about it on social media about like checking in with your body, right? Getting out of your head and into your body. And it's like I was doing that, but only to a certain extent and only when I really needed it, not moment after moment after moment after moment. Checking in, checking in, checking in, listening to what my body is telling me. Right? I was doing some yoga this morning. This is the first time I've done yoga in forever. I did a little bit when I had COVID, just some restorative yoga, some really like yin yoga, super slow, super gentle, all on the ground, just to like stretch my body because I just felt so awful. But I actually did a yoga session this morning and I'm laying there in Shavasana and I'm just like, the stillness, setting my intention for the day. And the entire time I'm doing yoga, I'm fighting nausea. I'm just like, no, powering through it, powering through it, powering through it. I'm like, you're doing it again. Your body is literally saying, stop. Your body is literally like, I'm about to throw up. Just stop for a second. And it wasn't until I got to Shavasana, just laying there in stillness, that I heard it. So it's like, this is going to be baby steps for me. The self love guru who preaches, check in with your body. I'm still learning how to check in with my own body. And so I'm doing that now on a much more elevated, deeper level. It's less surface level and it's much more intentional on literally asking myself, what do you need now? And what do you need now? And how about now? And what about now? Is this still good for you? It was good for you an hour ago. Is it still good for you? Right? Just honoring my body, because right now my body is screaming in pain. The headaches that I still get are so fucking debilitating. The pressure in my eyeballs and in my neck, and the coughing fit and the brain fog. Like, I literally am at a point now where I really I don't have a choice but to check in with my body and see what's alive inside of me. There is no more autopilot for me, because when I start to notice myself going on autopilot, I physically get ill, right? Like, I was on autopilot this morning doing yoga just because I wanted to do yoga. I just wanted to have some self-care routine back in my day. We have these beautiful yoga sessions that are hosted in the Perfectly Balanced group that I'm a part of, which we're going to get to a podcast episode soon about that group. Oh my God, that group literally saved my life while I was sick. Um, but I just wanted to feel normal. And I pushed a little too hard, and it's okay, right? It was only a 40-minute yoga session, but it gave me a lesson of like, okay, yes, you get to go back to your self-care routines. You get to continue to do yoga. You get to do things that feel good, but listen to your body while you are doing them. Breathe. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about that I got from this awful COVID experience is listening to my body, yes. Checking in with my body, yes. Honoring rest. Rest, rest, rest. We as a culture, we don't know how to fucking rest. We really don't. Because when we are resting, we're not. We're like scrolling, we're watching Netflix, we're tidying the house. We're entertaining our kids, like, right? Entertaining our spouses with something that they want us to do, when really all we just want to do is sit the fuck down and rest and not do anything and not move and not talk and not speak and not have to think and not have to do, right? Intentional rest, not rest that's riddled with pressure and guilt for resting and judgment for not doing, or resting too much or not resting enough, right? How many times have you rested and you're like, God, why don't I do this more? I know I need to do this more. I tell myself I need to do this more all the time. I need to start setting boundaries. I need to take some things off my to-do list, right? And it's like the whole time we're resting, we're judging ourselves and feeding it and fueling it with guilt and pressure and anxiety and worry and judgment. And it's like, no, that's not rest. It's actually not rest. You're completely defeating the purpose of your rest when you're doing that to yourself. And I noticed myself a couple of times, like, I didn't get off the couch today. It actually, like, the weather was really beautiful some of these days that we were home sick. And one day in particular, it was like 65 degrees. And I'm like, I didn't even get my kid outside today. I haven't left my couch. I can't even, like, I didn't even eat today. And then like, for a moment, I'm like, you failed. You could have at least gone outside, right? And then it's like, wait, no, I needed to do this. I needed to rest without picking up my phone or picking up a dish to clean or just like fully resting. And then when I was at peace with that, I checked in with my body and I was like, you know what? Before the sun does go down, it actually really is nice. And I think my body needs some vitamin D. So we went outside and it was a completely different experience than if I had been laying on the couch 5 minutes prior, beating myself up about laying on the couch all day and not getting outside. And then I forced myself to go outside because I thought it was the right thing to do. But really, I was just adding pressure on myself, blah, 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 blah. Do you see what I'm saying here? I went outside and it was intentional. I checked in with my body and it felt good. It didn't come with pressure or judgment or guilt, right? I got quiet long enough to listen to, like, okay, what do I need now? Should I go outside? Should I bundle up and like go get some fresh air? Yeah, actually, you know what? That would feel really good. I don't need to feel guilty about resting all day. I can celebrate that I rested all day and I can celebrate that I'm going outside to get some fresh air, right? Really being gentle and giving yourself grace and nurturing your mind, your body, your soul, getting quiet and getting still and listening to like what's underneath the surface layer, right? Cuz the surface layer for me was, you bum, you didn't even get up today. Literally, you didn't even get up. What was underneath that? Oh, you really needed to rest today, didn't you? You really needed to take it easy. And that's okay. And then taking baby steps to figure out what it was that I needed in the next moment, in the next moment, in the next moment. I made homemade soup for myself, right? Like that was the type of self-care I was entertaining and participating in, right? Not meditating and journaling and doing yoga because that wasn't what my body needed. And moving forward, there were a lot of instances where, you if you're like me, you go down a rabbit hole of Google searches and YouTube videos and all the things about, well, what is this COVID gonna do? Like, when is this brain fog gonna lift? And like, when am I gonna be back to myself? And then if I'm finding like, oh, it might be a while. Oh shit, this might stay with me for like a long time. Oh no, I might never be the same. I mean, you hear long COVID symptoms. I didn't even know that was a thing. And am I recommending you Google and go down a spiral hole and, self-diagnose yourself with all the things and no. No, that's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying was I sort of educated myself on like instead of I can't wait to go back to normal. I can't wait to go back to normal. I can't wait to be like I can't wait to feel like myself again. And the more that the days passed and the more that I didn't, the more frustrated I got, the more pressure I put on myself, the more disappointed I got with, "Oh, shit. I'm gonna start off this new year, like, not in a good way. Like, fuck. All that work that I did last year, maybe it was for nothing," right? Like, then you start going down this mental spiral hole. And I really just educated myself and had some compassion that I might not feel myself for quite a while. And then the fear set in. Oh, shit. Like, there were moments where I was literally, like, crying in my bed, terrified that I was never gonna be the same person that I was once before, right? Like, I get how people say that they struggled with anxiety and depression while experiencing COVID. I get it now. I get why there are statistics of people who committed suicide while having COVID. I get it now. If you did not experience the depression or anxiety or brain fog or just that like debilitating funk, while you had COVID, then you are so lucky. You are so lucky. And I know that everybody had different experiences who has had it, and everybody has different symptoms, and I understand that everybody's different. But for me, if I did not lean into community and honor myself and allow myself to take baby steps and really like check in with my body and allow my body to rest and educate myself on what it's going to feel like moving out of this, I'd still be in that bed crying. I would not have been returning to work. I would not continue to be coaching. I would have, let all my clients go and just been like, sorry, this isn't for me. But when I'm literally struggling, after I picked up a journal again, I was struggling to write sentences. I was struggling to find words. And that's not I don't struggle to find words. Like, I don't that's not something that I lack. There's always words in this mind and this coming out of this mouth, right? I have a lot of things to say. So the fact that I was, like, coming up empty with words and things that made sense, and when I was writing down in my journal, like, I couldn't even read my handwriting. It was like chicken scratch script that just blurred into each other, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is bad. This is like, how am I gonna show up the way that I've been showing up, the way that I'm so proud that I finally am able to show up? I gotta start from scratch? What the hell?" Like, oh my god. I was terrified, and so I'm like, "I don't want this to be my new normal," you know? I don't wanna feel like this anymore. I don't want this to be my new story. Like, I just rewrote all of those old stories and I wrote all these new empowering ones, and I've really like stepped into my purpose and I feel so lit up and inspired. And now I can't even journal because I can't think of what I want to say and I can't get my thoughts onto paper. And even when I can't even fucking read it. Holy shit. That fear and that like just scared to death of like, wait a minute. Whenever I check in with my body, I'm always really good. Like, in my body, I'm always good. It's always like external things, relationships, situations, energies, like, but I'm always good. And now I'm checking in with my body, and my body's like screaming at me, "You're not good. You're not good. You're not good." I was terrified. I was literally terrified. So, in that, I'm like, okay, baby steps. Baby steps. It's okay if you write in your journal and you can't read it. It's okay if you can't think of inspiring things to say. Baby steps. Honor yourself. Listen to your body. Get rid of the pressure, the judgment, the guilt, the fear. Get quiet, get still long enough to just listen. And when I did that on a coaching call, I realized that maybe this is a really great opportunity for me to do things completely different than I've ever done them before. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to teach others how imperative it is to rest this year. Not the rest that you've done in the past, but like real, true, intentional, embodied rest. My year my intention word for the year is wealthy. And there was even a moment of me being like, "What are you worried about wealth for? You can't even fucking think straight." Maybe you need to change your word to like slow down, right? Maybe you need to change your word to baby steps because that's what you're going to be doing. And it was like, wait a minute, no. What if this experience of moving slower and being more still and getting grounded and quiet and really honoring my body and nurturing my body and fueling my body with healthy foods and drinking more water and just being so intentional about how I treat my body. That's the wealthiest thing of all. My body is the wealthiest thing that I own. That's everything. It's much more than $100 bill in my wallet or a trip to Colorado to see my best friend, right? My body is the wealthiest part of me. And so, in that, instead of like, I went from like this freak out mode to like, all right, calm down, take a deep breath, let's get quiet, let's get still. What is your teacher here? You don't need to change your word. How can we shift this? And it happened immediately. It's like, oh, wait, that word's perfect. There's more to wealth than just money. And I knew that when I set the word as my intention. It wasn't about money, wealth. It was about a wealth of experiences and power and magnetism and memories and luxury and just all the yummy things. And I still get to have that while going slow. And now this may change, in a month, I may be like, I may get some pep in my step and everything could be great. But I'll be very honest with you. And we'll revisit this later if this changes. But going slow and checking in and being really intentional is really like my new mantra. I have all the time in the world. I don't need to rush through this. I don't need to do all of the things. When it's when it's important for me, see, look, I'm losing my words right now. It is important for me to cultivate a nurturing experience while I integrate this new version of me, this post-COVID version of me. And like while I get back into my routines and live my quote unquote normal life, I get to have patience for myself. I get to really change how I do self-care. I get to move slowly and I get to allow myself to rest and integrate the things that I'm learning and the things that are happening in my experiences. And COVID and having to slow down from that was a big one. I get to remind myself in these moments where we feel like we've been, shoved off of a cliff or pushed down into a hole. I get to remind myself that all of the work that I've done to get to this empowered place, to feel strong and resilient and embody this woman that I'm becoming, that just feels so good and effortless and activated. She's still here. I'm moving a little slower. I got some extra aches and pains. I gotta, like, take some baby steps, but I'm still here. I'm still strong. I'm still resilient. I still am the embodiment of what I believe is so important about loving yourself. You gotta love yourself when you're in the funk just as much as when you're feeling high off of life, right? Like, you gotta love yourself always. And also remembering boundaries. Remembering how important boundaries are, remembering how important it is to say yes to the things that feel good and to say no to the things that do not feel good. I'm not going to fill my plate anymore with things that I will say yes to just because I can. Because maybe now I can't. So I'm going to have to learn when to say no. And I'm going to have to learn when enough is enough. I get to eat clean and drink water, and I'm doing dry January. Why? Because I want to treat my body like a goddess so that it feels better, so that I can maybe not be me again, but I can be a more empowered, deeper, more thoughtful version of me that maybe I've never been before. I get to take up space and pause and follow my intuition. I get to be calm and centered and grounded in wealthy, rich experiences in my life. I don't have to take this setback and allow it to affect how I step into this new year. I don't have to allow these symptoms, this brain fog, these setbacks to linger and affect how I show up in the world and how I show up for myself. And so if you've taken any lessons or value from this episode, it is that these moments, these trials and tribulations and ebbs and flows of life, these things that seem in the moment to stand in our way of something that we would rather experience, let them be your teachers. Let them be your lessons. Find the value in the unfortunate experience. Trust the process of what is happening right now and what you're experiencing. And that even though it may feel really shitty and scary, it's for a reason. I got knocked on my ass for a reason. The universe was like, okay, you're really not going to slow down this year? We've been we've been asking you to do it, and we've been asking you to do it in all of these different ways. And then finally it was like, okay, it's time to slow down now. Boom, you are out. You are out for the count. Now, now what do you think about that? Now you gonna listen? A test from the universe? Are you gonna listen now? Put down some of those things. Really start honoring your body, listening to what it's telling you, listening to your intuition. And you can't do that if you're busy doing a bunch of different things, right? The other side of your fear is your intuition. When you are in a place of fear, that's where the fight or flight comes in. That's where the doubt and the judgment and the pressure and the guilt and all of that comes in. That's when you start to get sick. That's when you start to have health problems. That's when you have anxiety and depression, right? The fear, your fear center. But do you know what is on the other side of that? If you get quiet enough to listen, your intuition. If you get quiet enough to listen to the things that you are fearful about, your intuition will start to shine through. And then you can listen to that and find the real experience that you're meant to get out of this. And for me, it was, oh, I'm still amazing. I'm still really badass. I just got to move a little slower. I just have to be more intentional about what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and how I'm doing it. And I got to rest a lot more than I was. Like, really rest. I don't need to be creative and activated and inspired 24/7. That doesn't serve me and that doesn't serve anybody listening. I found out through human design that my fear centers are fear of failure, fear of responsibility, and a fear of the past. And you can find that out in your chart as well. I'm telling you, human design. Oh my God, it's changed my life. And those three things, I mean, yes, everybody's afraid of failure, right? Like who's not? But that is the thing that knocks me down. That is the thing that is going to ruin my entire existence is fear of the past, fear of responsibility, and fear of failure. I knew about the past thing. I am always so fearful of the past coming back to haunt me or being stuck in the past, right? The fear of responsibility, That one I still need to sit with a little bit longer. There's been a lot of moments where I've sort of, "Oh, yep, that makes sense, that makes sense." But the fear of failure, that's what the fear was here. The fear was that this whole year was a waste and that I was stepping into 2023 sick and not myself and foggy and unclear and not the person who I've worked so hard to embody this entire year. And it was like, I failed. I'm going to let this sickness just knock me on my ass and that's going to be it. I'm done. No, actually, I get to come back and be bigger and more badass than before because I get to move slower, which is probably relatable to a lot more people that see me and listen to me and follow me. Right? So in essence, the whole purpose of my life is to inspire others by being myself. Well, now I get to be a better version of myself that connects and becomes inspired by the faces of challenges and changes. Finding balance between my interior and my exterior, right? The internal and the external, finding a balance of that, listening to my inner voice and allowing my body to rest when it needs to rest, allowing for that healing to happen, allowing for that nurturing to happen, and setting new desires for what I want in this life, for what I want in this year, and having patience with the process. Patience. Have patience with yourself. It is so important. And I'm feeling complete with this episode. I just wanted to come on here and talk about my experiences, talk about what the last couple of weeks has been for me, and to remind you that if you are still suffering from the brain fog and the post COVID symptoms, it's going to be okay. And I invite you to get curious about where do you need to start taking baby steps? Where do you need to start moving slower in your life? And how could you be resting more intentionally, allowing your body the grace that it needs to recover from this virus? And maybe your issue is not COVID related, but it's just, hey, where can you like take baby steps in this new year? It doesn't have to be like go big or go home always. It doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes slower is better. And I'm really finding that lesson and I'm going to continue to integrate it and cultivate more of it. And I'm sure I'll probably be back here and we'll talk further on this as I integrate this new version of me, the slower, more intentional, gentle version of me who's still getting all the things done. Just all of the important things done because I listen long enough to check in with myself and get quiet long enough to listen to that inner wisdom that's screaming at me to slow down. I hope this episode served you well. I hope that you have stepped into this new year excited about the changes that you get to make, excited about the things that you get to release that no longer serve you, even if it took getting COVID to find that out. Man, what would have happened if I didn't get it? I would have been like, "Oh my god, new year, let's go. Activate, activate." Right? Oh my god, I don't even know. I probably would be burnt out within a week. I was so excited to step into this new year and just like run full speed ahead. Universe was like, nope, sit your ass down, take a breather. There's some things you need to still learn. I love you guys so much. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Feel free to share it if you've got any value from it. And until next time, I'll see you around.
And that is it for today's episode. I hope that these words activated and inspired something inside of you. And if they did, please share this episode with a friend or on your social media, and feel free to tag me so that I can say thank you. The more people who hear these words along their path, the more we can help inspire and heal the world. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a review. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Sending love and light until next time. I'll see you soon.